Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to the Scoop for the first episode of today. And this isn't, this is the first time that we've gone live with no hiccups or any technical difficulties or anything like that. So I appreciate all you guys that are joining us for the pre-show today. We usually go live for about 10 or 15 minutes. If there's no technical difficulties beforehand, we jump straight into it. If there is, you guys get a pre-show, and that's exactly what you've got today, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Ice Cream Uploads here on Friday, the 28th of July. This year has gone so freaking fast. And again, I'm not sure whether or not it's because I have a child now and every single day seems to blur into the next. You have your working week and weekend. They are two different parts of the week, but they are so much shorter than they used to be on both sides of things, regardless of whether or not you're in work or you're at home. But this year has absolutely flown. We're very nearly in August. So yeah, start saving for those Christmas presents right about now. But yes, it's definitely after 10 a.m. this week. And we've been talking about this. If you are obviously new around here, we'll introduce what this is very soon, but we have been mentioning it for the last 2 or 3 weeks or so. We have quite a few events coming up over at Jelly HQ, which involves myself and Graham. So our time is extremely limited throughout the day. That isn't focused on coming in and out of meetings, timelining, getting a load of event stuff set in place. Obviously, because Graham will be going to Gamescom in the next couple of weeks. We do have a couple of external conferences to head up to as well. So yeah, our time is extremely limited at the moment. So the times where we would usually go live at 10 a.m. to 2 p.m, it's just a hell of a lot much broader than that now. So we could be going live as we did last week at about 4:30 because that's the only time that we have in our calendar. So again, I appreciate every single one of you that just join us at any given point throughout the day. We never really give you a heads up because we don't know where we have time in our calendar to go, okay, we can dedicate this hour. It's literally, okay, we've just come out of 3 meetings. We'll eat on the scoop. We'll get our dinner and stuff like that as we're going along because this is the only time that we can carve out for you. So that is the reason why you aren't getting as many episodes as you usually do. But at the moment in time, I mean, as forever, the work comes first. And that's exactly what we have to focus on. The Ice Cream Upload stuff definitely plays a massive part in our lives, but it plays the least importance, shall we say, in our daily calendars in terms of what kind of workload we have. So again, whenever we go live, you guys come through. We appreciate that. You guys obviously do listen to us on podcast services that include Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple, iTunes, and Google Play. You guys are absolutely smashing it over there for us. So again, very much appreciate all of your support, all your loyalty, and all of the time that you have given to obviously listening to this podcast over the last 3.5 years or so. There is a break being played right at this moment in time. I thought it'd make sense to be able to do it now for you guys that are watching on Twitch because we're going to be jumping into our first news story today. As you can tell, it is only me today. There is usually two of us that do this podcast. Graham is usually the person that hosts it. He reads out the news and then we both give our thoughts and opinions, which then we bring you guys in who are in the chat. You give your thoughts and opinions on the top of ours. We've had some extremely hot debated topics this week, including does skill-based matchmaking make the experience worse or better for your daily gaming needs? And so do go ahead and watch that back. That was on Wednesday. That was a fantastic episode, and it's definitely something that I don't know if you could pick up from that myself and Graham are obviously super passionate about. And as the chat obviously had these kind of discussions as well. So worse off, says Tito. So yeah, these are kind of topics that we love to be able to go through because we know it involves you guys, it involves mine and Graham's opinions, especially being in and around the esports space. We can understand how much of an effect those kind of things have on the scene, as well as people's just pure enjoyment of coming and playing video games. So yeah, this is This is just going to be me today. Graham will be back next week. Again, there is going to be limited shows as we start to run up to the likes of Gamescom and our event days, so we will keep you informed as and when we are able to do so. So if you've not already joined our Discord, now would be the perfect time for you to be able to do that. We do give regular updates if we can't make it, so we do usually put a message in around about 2 or 3 o'clock on the day where we would scheduled to do a scoop. If we haven't got time to be able to do it, we feel like that is obviously the best way of letting you guys know without actually going live and saying, we've got no scoop today, bye. That is definitely the best way for us to be able to keep those conversations flowing, as you guys are always in there. Every time I put my phone down for an hour, I'll come back to it, and there's just been so many different channels basically of you guys giving us some sort of support in there in terms of you guys just talking with each other. That's the essentially what we built this for in the first place, a community hub for you guys to be able to play games with each other, matchmake, have these discussions, and especially talk about food, because that is the greatest thing on this earth. Family aside, my son, my wife, food is definitely right up there with the most important things, as you can very well tell. But anyway, you're here to listen on, get involved with some video game news, and that is exactly what we're going to be able to give you today. The topic of today, or the main topic of today, is the fact that Microsoft is now banning Xbox Live accounts. Didn't have enough characters to go into the rest of it, so take from that what you will. But the fact that emulation has been a massive part of the Xbox community in forever, whether or not you was modding your original Xbox games to be able to play backup versions of said games with like a Tom Clancy Splinter Cell hack or a Tony Hawk's hack or something like that. We've had modding in the community for years, and the Xbox Series franchise, shall we say, has been the biggest part of these exploits. We've been able to back up games. It's something that I enjoy doing on my Xbox Series S. I use the dev mode to back up, which I have all of my, I don't know if you can see, I've got a hell of a lot of PlayStation 2 games up there, including all the old Pro Evolution Soccers and a lot of the Winning 11 games that we never really got to see over here. So I like to play those on my Xbox Series S. It gives me the perfect chance to be able to stream them for you guys as well, for patches that you may not have seen before. They did bring those out of dev mode and into retail mode. And when I say they, I don't mean Microsoft, I mean the modders. They're able to host it up on the Xbox store for a very limited time, and you can basically pay to get whitelisted in the background, so you have access to that. Had you have done that and still got it involved on your console, now you are definitely running the risk of your account being suspended and your console bricked. So that is the main story that we're going to go with today. We also have some Payday 3 news. Stick around for that one, definitely, because we do have some news that we want to be able to go through that with you. And the last ever Xbox Games with Gold lineup has been announced. That is now becoming a defunct tier category paywall that Xbox have had for the longest time now, well over 10 years, and it's now becoming a thing of the past, or being rebranded, shall we say. And then obviously we have some free game Friday news coming at you today. So yeah, again, if you are new around here, please do feel free to give us a follow. It would mean the absolute world. So as about we get into the first news story then. As we mentioned before, this is obviously based around the news that Microsoft has reportedly started suspending players who run emulators in retail mode. This has been written by Chris Scullion over at VGC, and he goes on to say that Xbox has reportedly started issuing temporary suspensions to players who use emulators in retail mode. Previously, users were able to download emulators as applications directly from the Microsoft Store, which would allow them to play retro ROMs in any retail Xbox Series console. Microsoft only later disabled the loophole that would let these applications run on the retail mode of the system, though users could still run applications in developer mode, which is obviously what I do, the safest way. Earlier this month, a group claims to have found a way to get emulators running in retail mode and started a Patreon account asking for £2 or $2 per month for access to their new method. It would appear this didn't last long, though, as Microsoft has now started cracking down on all retail emulation and those who use it. As reported by YouTuber Hikamori Media, who regularly reports on emulation consoles, Microsoft has started handing out 15-day suspensions to players running emulators on their Xbox Series S and X and Xbox One consoles in retail mode. Hikamori Media cites that a Discord server called the Xbox Emulation Hub, which is dedicated to the running of emulators on Xbox consoles. VGC joined the server to corroborate the news and found that an announcement posted on Thursday from staff members Golden Sky, who specializes in creating retail access to the RetroArch emulator, informing that users in retail and retail mode is dead, and that the Discord server in retail mode channel will be deleted within a week. Effective immediately, we are halting any and all retail mode emulation permanently, Golden Sky writes. This channel will be deleted within the week, and the announcement will be moved to the server announcements channel for preservation purposes. And then, as you can see there, the embedded tweet from Hikamori Media. A significant amount of users have been receiving 15-day suspensions as warning shots from Xbox. They add that, including photos from users as proof, that we strongly recommend removing any and all emulator apps from your console in retail mode immediately. Dev mode is unaffected. We apologise to anyone who got a 15-day suspension. We know it sucks. Golden Sky also warns users that have been re-uploaded emulators to retail mode are getting outright console bans rather than 15-day suspensions. Please take my advice and do not begin trying to upload retail emulators, they write. Microsoft are console banning people caught uploading retail mode emulators. Don't take that risk for yourself and don't put others at risk too. It's not worth it anymore. Just use dev mode. Players can still install emulators on their console in developer mode, but access to this mode costs a one-off fee to activate, and players have to manually switch between developer mode and retail mode. Whilst in development mode, they can't play retail games or enjoy features like quick resume. Xbox boss Phil Spencer has expressed his support for emulation in the past, as long as it's done through legal authorities' routes. In 2021, he told Axis that he advocated software emulation as a solution to game preservation. My hope, and I think to present this way as of now, is an industry would work on legal emulation that allows modern hardware to run on any within reason older executable, allowing someone to play any game, he said. He added, I think at the end, if we say anybody should be able to buy a game or own in a game and continue to play any game, that's a great start to the North Star for us as an industry. Sorry, I'm just taking a quick sip of my brew there to try, wet the old palate again. So, ladies and gentlemen, massive news in the emulation community. If you are part, I was a part, and I still am a part of that Xbox emulation community. I'm a massive advocate, and it's something that we talk about all the time with this, of having video game preservation, especially childhood games that you played as a young child, whether or not that was with your cousin, your friend, your mum, your dad, your granddad, or whatever. Siblings, you've got the ability to be able to play that in any given format. Now, obviously, this day and age, having digital-only games is a kind of step in the wrong direction in terms of video game preservation, because obviously you haven't got the physical media, you can't play it going forward. But obviously, even if you had a Mega Drive cartridge, for instance, the only way guaranteed for you to be able to do that is to find a console that has a Mega Drive cartridge slot, whether or not that was the original console itself or any of the other Retron 5 versions of those cartridge consoles. That's the only way really that you're able to play them, barring obviously having digital backups of them. So video game preservation is something that's near and dear to me. It's something that I definitely play more retro games than I do modern day games, in terms of I love to play a good old Master League. There is so many versions of Pro Evo out there below the surface that probably you guys that maybe have played a lot of PES in the past have never seen before. So you can see accounts like Marlon Anthony, like Matt 10, like Shales, like This Is Football Heritage, all of these accounts that specialize in, and Chucky as well, by the way, if you are Chucky, all of these accounts specialize in historic Pro Evo games that have opened my eyes up to games that I had never heard of before, whether or not that is modern day patches on older versions of Winning 11 games, or Win 11 games that came out that people are still modding to this day of the 2002 to 2003 season. Editions of games that I never thought I'd be able to get my hands on, I now have the ability to be able to do. And that is something that I'd have a keen interest in keeping, essentially, whether or not I'm doing that on my PC. Or, in my opinion, the best place to be able to play those video games is on your Xbox Series S or X. You have the ability to be able to go into dev mode. I think it's about £12 to get your license for it, and it's something that I can't recommend enough. Bit of a pain in the ass to set up originally, and you definitely need something like Safe Exit in the background for you there, because once you leave dev mode, everything that's in dev mode disappears unless you use something like Safe Exit. So there may be an instance where you're playing a PlayStation 2 game, you finish playing it for the day, and you just turn your console off. Unfortunately, you will lose everything within that. You literally need to back out of the game, go to the sub menu, click Safe Exit, then you leave, and everything stays there. It's a pain in the ass to set up originally, and probably will take you a couple of hours, but once you have it all nailed down and you're navigating the menus, the muscle memory kicks in, you'll never lose anything again. I've had safe mode enabled on my console now for about 18 months, never lost anything since. It's a good old time. It's the best way to be able to play older video games, in my opinion, regardless. So you've got the RetroArch, you've got PCSX2, you've got Xbox SX2 as well on there. You've got DuckStation, you've got all of these wonderful emulators that you've probably played games or want to revisit games, it's the best way to be able to do it. So Lake says, who the fuck are you and what did you do to Bibi? It is still me. My voice is still dead drowny. How we doing, Lake? Fatman Dave says, I soft modded my OG Xbox with Splinter Cell and never used to rip games. I was using it for XP SMC and Cody and a MAME emulator. I mean, obviously we're talking video game consoles from 21 years ago and people were still finding exploits then. I never soft modded my original Xbox because I would have only been 10 or 11 at the time and I didn't really have the interest in doing so. You'd pay a guy for that, and then you'd go to someone. I mean, I've heard that you used to be able to go to someone and get like 3 games for a tenner. Yeah, I mean, these are really naughty people. I'd never advocate that in any way, shape, or form. Moving swiftly on. But yeah, Xbox emulation. Obviously, I've kind of embellished the story, but at the same time, heed this warning. If you are someone who is definitely interested or currently has a retail mode version of any of the emulators on your home screen, please get rid of them and reload them again via the dev mode on that console. I mean, this is definitely a topic that I find myself stuck in because of the way that I play video games. This will go right over Graham's head, and I'm fairly certain that he would have just handed me the floor with this kind of stuff because he knows that I know what I'm talking about when it comes to this type of things. If you do need any advice with how to get all of this stuff sorted, do just drop into the Discord and let me know and I'll be able to help you out. Or alternatively, there's people on YouTube like Modern Vintage Gamer who will change your life when it comes to this sort of emulation. So do go over and give those guys a follow. They will definitely be able to help you out with any kind of emulation needs that you have. So yeah, that's our first news story and definitely something that I have a passion for and something that I can definitely sit here and speak all day about. But we just ain't got the time. We do, however, have time to be able to talk about this. When it loads up. You even got to see me have a swig of my brew there while I was waiting for that to load. Christ almighty. Anyway, written on Eurogamer by Tom Phillips, he goes on to say that Payday 3 closed beta for PC and Xbox Series S and X next week. So PC and Xbox Series S and X players will be able to play Payday 3 ahead of its September launch date next week from Wednesday the 2nd to Monday the 7th of August. The upcoming co-op heist threequel will be available to play as part of a technical closed beta with a classic heist from the series and original gang available to play. So that means that I'm removing cash from a bank in the No Rest for the Wicked mission whilst playing as one of Payday's major masked foursomes, Dallas, Hoxton, Chains, and Wolf. You'll be able to replay the mission to your heart's content, though your progress will eventually be capped at Affinity level 22 and level progression 8 if you want to know. Interested? You can request now via Payday 3's Steam or in your Xbox through the Xbox Insider Hub. Ian played Payday 3 last month and reported back that the game's improved on the series formula without making any radical changes. You can watch the gameplay trailer above in 4K. So the reason why I wanted to be able to bring this news to you, I'll give it to you in a second. So, we actually got reached out to cover this game. It's definitely something that myself and Graham was 100% interested in being able to do, and it's hopefully something that we will able to bring you next week on this channel. We haven't been NDA'd. We haven't been told that we obviously can't say this information. It's obviously public knowledge that there is going to be a closed beta test taking place next week. Obviously, people might have to be able to go through and request one via the Xbox Insider Hub, but it's something that myself and Graham are trying to work on, being able to bring this kind of content to you. We are starting to try and diversify what we end up doing on this channel, whether or not it's just going to be bringing you product reviews, as well as shows like The Scoop, whether or not it's PUBG, whether or not it's our streams that we go through on the weekend where we literally play any and all video games. We want to be able to try and give you something a little bit more fresher, and these are the type of content that people have historically reached out for us to be able to do, and we haven't had time to be able to do it. So we are trying to make time for us to be able to bring stuff like this, because Payday is definitely something that we want to be able to bring two of you in to the channel and be able to play alongside us. That would be absolutely amazing. Every time we end up getting stuff like this, 9 times out of 10 when you see codes coming through, it's because we've been given stuff like this. Obviously we can't make the most of it, and we then give back to you guys. So hopefully we might be able to bring you some Payday 3 action next week. I'm not sure whether or not we'll be able to get it over the line, but obviously if we end up given a load of codes and stuff like that, we'll hopefully be able to distribute those out to you guys as well. But in terms of, playing some Payday 3, I feel like this channel is definitely the right place to be able to play a game like this, where myself and Graham will bring two of you guys in. We're going to go and do some epic heists. We're going to try and upgrade our base and things like that. So more Payday content hopefully will be coming to this channel. We have historically played some Payday on this channel. It would have been myself and probably three of my mates that live around here. It would have been a hell of a long time ago though, and it definitely featured on my old Twitch channel, shall we say. Tito says, lies, Graham doesn't play any other games. You'll be surprised as to what me and myself and Graham have in the pipeline in the future, as to what kind of content you want to be able to bring onto this channel. It doesn't just include PUBG, so we can get that out of there. I mean, it will be definitely sticking his claws into it, and as I'm pulling him away by his legs, and there definitely will be a lot of scratch marks being left behind in the PUBG universe. But Ad says, oh, tasty. Yeah, exactly. So we're trying to make content that you guys obviously want to be a part of. It's not just stuff that you want us to be to stream so you can watch. This channel is based around community and games that we want to be able to play, hence why Graham obviously has his chasing crates with mates, and I've moved my streams to be able to try and accommodate some chugging jugs with thugs and whatever games it is that we want to be able to do. We want to become more of a social gamer and obviously include you guys in those types of conversations and gameplay elements. So hopefully we get some more Payday stuff soon. If it's not going to be next week, it's going to be in September, so don't worry too much about it. As I said, it might just be a case of we end up getting the codes and we're not able to facilitate anyway due to work commitments and such like. So yeah, again, we appreciate all of you guys that obviously been supporting us, because you are basically giving us the opportunity to be the forefront and people and for companies to deem us worthy enough to be able to give this content. In all honesty, that stuff you can't really put a price on. But yeah, we've got two more news stories left. Obviously, one of them is Free Game Friday, but this one is probably one that's going to be right in the feels for Tito, not in terms of game that he probably adores, but because this is the sunsetting of one of the OGs in the Xbox scene. Written on Eurogamer. Oh, where's my mouse gone? Written on Eurogamer by Victoria Kennedy. She goes on to say that the last ever Xbox Games with Gold lineup is here, of Dungeons and Driving. So Microsoft has announced its last ever round of Xbox Games with Gold editions. Users will be able to get their hands on Blue Fire and Internal Drift from the 1st of August, with both games available until the 31st of August. Blue Fire is an adventure game that's set in the world of Numbria? Is that right? The game promises temples to explore puzzles and solve with wild enemies to overcome. Inertal Drift, meanwhile, is an arcade racing game that offers up to 16 cars and 20 wild tracks for players to experience. I do apologise. I've had so much water today. It feels like it's catching up with me. But anyway. We called Inertal Drift a unique and exhilarating arcade racer. Inertal Drift is about you in the road, pure and simple, wrote Martin. It's about placing this novel twin stick drifting in your hands and let you explore its nuances and exploit the potential in each car and each apex until you edge further up the leaderboard. It's not just about the most stylish, thrilling racer I've played in an absolute age. Before these editions will arrive on the service, there's still some time to scoop up July's games with Gold offering, which is Darkwood and When the Past Was Around. Darkwood is available until the 31st of July, and while When the Past Was Around is available until the 15th of August. As a reminder, games with Gold will come close on the 1st of September and will subsequently be replaced with Game Pass Core, Microsoft's evolution of Xbox Live Gold. Anyone who is already a member of Xbox Gold will be automatically become a Game Pass Core member on the 14th of September with no change in pricing. In the UK, Games with Gold is currently £7 a month. So it most certainly is the end of an era when it comes to what Xbox was, what Xbox is going to be in the future. Obviously, they're basing pretty much all of their marketing around the Game Pass and what that means for them. It's something that myself and Graham called about 2 months ago when we knew that there was going to be some price changes coming through. When we found out that obviously Activision was meant to be being bought out, and becoming part of the Microsoft family, they need to try and get money back from you somehow. They're not just going to let the 69 billion be squirreled away into these companies. They obviously want you to be able to buy these games and then have some services that they can sell to you. And Xbox Game Pass is the best service in video games. That is a fact. That isn't even an opinion. That is so much better than everything else that's available on the market when it comes to being able to have games as a service. So having the likes of of Game Pass diversify and start to have different tiers in there makes absolute sense for them. It doesn't surprise me that we're going to start getting a lot of games put behind a paywall, and you will have to pay premium to be able to access some of the bigger games. That doesn't surprise me at all. I think that was their plan all along. See how well this particular Game Pass model does, and then if people are getting so much value for money, we can start to dilute them into different segments, and then people will start to buy in different tiers. It makes perfect sense, and we have definitely been robbing them at about £13 a month for Xbox for PC, or I think it's £15 a month for Xbox Ultimate to be able to play them on your console and on PC as well. So we definitely have been robbing them, and it isn't surprising that they're obviously putting the price up with this. Actual video games for you to be able to buy in the store's gone up from the £50 to the £70 mark, so it makes absolute sense for them to be able to do this. And in all honesty, it's probably worth the money. Am I right? So Tito says, I'm surprised it's still going. It's always been shy. It does feel like there was on the third round with those games, like there wasn't anything left to be able to give. And Tito says, like, has anybody heard of either of those games? I genuinely haven't. They do stink of what was it called? The Xbox Marketplace. Back in the day where just anyone was putting any old shitty shovelware on there, £3 and you've got a game on there. I do remember playing one though, and I can't remember what it was called. It was like a Pokemon style Xbox game. One second. Pokemon style Xbox. What was it called? Xbox arcade game. It was like Pikimon or something like that. It was actually pretty decent for the time. I'm not going to lie. I did spend a little bit too much time playing that. Where are you? What are you called? Nexomon Extinction. That definitely wasn't it. I don't know what it was called. But it was. I might even have it still on my original Xbox 360, which I've got underneath my feet here, which I'm not going to say I've played recently, but I have. In fact, the last time I played it when we streamed Guitar Hero on this channel, and that's what he's pretty much set up for in a PES 13 Master League. No, it definitely wasn't Nexomon because that's more recent. But it's an Xbox Live Arcade game that was like a Pokemon type game, and I can't remember what it was called. But those types of games, there was like 79p and you're good to go. But those days are coming to an end, unfortunately. So we've got our last news story of the day. And obviously, if you want to be able to type, oh no, you can't because FF isn't in it. You can put it in the chat, but I haven't got the soundboard. I was hoping today to get some stuff off Graham. Obviously, he's got a holiday today, so I won't be able to do this. I'll do that on Monday because there is a lot of soundboard stuff that I don't have that is added. So then, some free Game Friday stuff to keep up with. What's free on the store now, brought to you by our friends over at PC Gamer by Morgan Park. And they go on to say, let's scroll down. Epic's kicking off this week's freebies with a remaster of a real-time strategy royalty in the Homeworld Remastered Collection. Experience all the Space Armada strategy that made Homeworld and Homeworld 2 the hallmarks of a new age of RTS games. If the idea of Space Fleet micromanagement feels like it's a little overwhelming, Severed Steel is available as such an acrobatic stunt-paced FPS. Hurl one-armed protagonists with bullet time dives through stylish, destructible Volex environments and make some stunner shooter games and playgrounds of your own with their built-in editor. And then next week's we've got Balloons, TD, 6 and Loop Hero. Loop Hero? I'm not sure about that one. But yeah, that's your game. I mean, this type of stuff stinks of you, Lake, anyway, right? This is your kind of vibe, so that is available for you over on the Epic Games Store right now for you to be able to jump in, dive in, and get added to your account if you don't already own it. And yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for today's episode of The Scoop. I apologise that, again, it's only been 3 episodes this week, but at this moment in time, we genuinely don't have that much time to be able to go through and give you as many episodes as we can. There may become a time in the future where we're able to get some hosts for this show, so when me and Graham aren't available, they can step in and be able to deliver a show that you guys obviously want to be able to listen to, and people that we can trust to be able to deliver the kind of content that you come to expect over on this channel. Homeworld was classed as Tito. But at this moment in time, we don't have that facility, and we do apologise for not being able to give you our scheduled content as we would like to. But work comes first. We have to make sure that we obviously bring in money through. Otherwise, there ain't going to be any more ICU. There ain't going to be more Jelly Media. So we want to be able to try and keep the money coming in from our clients and making them extremely happy so that they want to be able to give us some more monies. But that is it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining us for this episode today. And we will be back tomorrow. I'm still trying to figure out what my schedule looks like this week because basically the wife ain't going to be here tomorrow. The child isn't going to be here tomorrow. So I have pretty much a day of doing nothing. And I get bored very easily. So it could just well be that I end up tying my streaming with Graham's tomorrow, or I'll wait for him to go off and then we jump on and do some other stuff. I'm not too sure. I'll have that discussion with him and then we'll figure it out from there. But I do want to be able to play some Call of Duty. I do want to get into some DMZ mode. I also want to be able to jump in and try and get level 20 on this fucking gun that I bought from the store that I genuinely thought it was just the skin, and then I'll be able to put it onto any gun. But no, I've ended up having this like little sniper rifle thing. It's a very good gun. It only takes 2 bullets to kill someone, but it's fucking doing my head in trying to get it to level 20 so I can put more stuff on it. Enough about my Modern Warfare ranting. We will send you over to one of our friends. But if you want to help shape any of the shows that we have in for next week, there is 2 ways you can do so. First of all, find us on social media. It is at Ice Cream Uploads across all major social media platforms. You guys should know all of this now. So if you're not following the channel, do hit that follow. We would very much appreciate it. As well as all you obviously joining the Discord so you can help shape those shows as well. If you're watching this on any of our on-demand services, go into the description below. All the links that you require will be listed there below. But all we need from you is the URL plus your thoughts and impressions. We will then give you our thoughts and impressions on the very next show, which will be at some time on Monday, won't it, baby? Yes, it will. Okay. So stick around. What we'll do, we'll send you over to one of our friends who is currently streaming at this moment in time, just trying to figure out who that potentially could be. Thank you very much, Tito, for putting all of the socially bits in there. We all very much appreciate it. But as always, guys, there's one thing that we want you to do, my friends, and that is to stay frosty. I've pressed the button. Why aren't you working?